to the channel. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the biggest duck in MMA today, the year 2025, present day, the biggest duck in MMA, the biggest duck in the UFC champion that is the biggest duck, and that is without a doubt Islam Makhachev. Well, former champion now. It's like, nah, I'm joking. Obviously, I'm joking. Obviously, I'm joking. That'd be too easy to just open a video and be like, oh, he's the duck, and then try to make some little thing to make him seem like a duck. But to be honest, I know the real answer people gonna say, oh, it's John Jones. And that is more accurate, but another video for another day, and I don't think that's accurate either. But Islam Makhachev, I'll say he is not a duck. You can say, oh, he should fight Ilia Topuria, and I think that'd be the better matchup, to be honest, like for the fans. But understanding where his perspective is at, that also does not make no sense that he's a duck if he's going up from lightweight to welterweight to fight a bigger striker versus staying at lightweight and fighting a 45er coming up to 55. A fighter come from 45 to 55 who has no real experience fighting at 55, no experience fighting the elite at 55, beating the elite at 55 and climbing up. But, you know, he's an elite fighter for sure. He's, well, I don't know, he should, was he pound number 3, number 2? He's up there. But, yeah, Ilia's amazing talent. And that's a fight I would be, personally, I would be more excited for. Makhachev versus Topuria. Honestly, I would have wanted that fight to, if it did happen, or if it was going to happen, would be like Makhachev maybe get one more defense at lightweight prior to that. And Ilia had, you know, this could have been knocked off Lopes, probably beat Volk again, and who else? Evloev. If he would have beat, really, really came down to beating Evloev and Lopes. If, you know, he stayed the champion, and then Volk would have got a rematch, you know, another shot at the belt. He would have beat Lopes, and he would have beat Evloev, that's for Topuria, and then he would have came up like in 2026, 2027. I think that would have been a better time. And it would have been better for Topuria too, because Makhachev might have started losing the step, and Topuria would have only be getting close to his prime. I don't think Topuria's in his 30s yet, so that would have been like, it would have been perfect for Topuria. And as far as career-wise, you know, being that a good building block, that's what I wanted, or at least maybe one more of those wins, and then go lightweight, and then knock off like a Charles Oliveira, Armand or something, and then fight for the belt. That's what I would have preferred. I don't like the whole thing of it just like jumping up there. Like, yes, you just did some great things. You knocked out 2 of the greatest fighters of all time, back to back. Knocked out Volk, and then you knocked out Holloway, who no one has ever knocked out. But again, it's nothing really saying what he did at 55, because he didn't really do nothing at 55. But I'm saying he accomplished enough to really to just jump up there and do that. But me personally, I don't think that was the best time to sell the fight. But yeah, back to the point of that, I don't think Islam is ducking Topuria again. He's not ducking a 45er to go fight a 170. That makes no sense. And I can see if Jack Della Maddalena just was a 170-pound striker who has no grappling. Obviously, in his last fight against Bilal Muhammad, the former champion, he beat to get the belt. Bilal Muhammad has some pretty sizable welterweight, good striking, good grappling, good wrestling, and he was able to shut down the majority of his takedowns. So Jack Della Maddalena is clearly showing that, you know, his wrestling is ever evolving, his defensive wrestling ever evolving. Working with Craig Jones, BJJ evolving. So yeah, he's not just going up there with a guy like, it's not like he's just going up there to fight a guy, let me see, a Wonder Boy, or going up there to fight a Venom Page, or I'm trying to think of somebody that's like really a one-dimensional striker, or Cyril Gahn, or anything like that. He's not going up there to fight a one-dimensional striker. He's going up there to fight a guy who's younger than him, bigger than him, probably the best striker that he's ever fought, and ever improving wrestling defense, ever improving wrestling offense. So it's a real big step up. And I know a lot of things people like argument people try to make to try to say John Jones don't earn this or don't deserve this, don't deserve that as far as payment when it comes to a super fight with Aspinall or anyone else. And I think that applies to this one as well. Like, people say, oh, you don't deserve it. Like I know a lot of people are saying, calling for the Topuria fight, or we're calling for the Topuria fight. You know, a lot of people are saying ducking this and ducking that. But would these people really pay money? Would the Topuria versus Makhachev fight be a big seller? There's no guarantee, because we don't know if Topuria versus Volk sold a lot of tickets. We don't know if Topuria versus sold a lot. Well, I'm not gonna say tickets. We know what tickets. We don't know about pay-per-view buys. We don't know if Topuria versus Volk sold a lot of pay-per-view buys. We don't know if Topuria versus Holloway sold a lot of pay-per-view buys. We don't really know if Makhachev ever really was no big pay-per-view star. And if anything, it more hints at the fact that neither of them have been big pay-per-view stars so far. Makhachev has been champion for like 3 years, 2 to 3 years. I don't think he has had any big pay-per-views. The Volkanovski fight which was a pound on one fight, the first fight, and I'm pretty sure that did extremely bad. So even if he did fight Topuria, there's no tell that this fight would sell great number or really be some super fight. It'd be a super fight, but would it do super numbers? Would it make a lot of money? Would it make a lot of sense? And then like what Makhachev has been saying, if he does beat Topuria, runs through him, they're gonna say, oh, he was too small, he was too this, oh, he was too young, he's not even 30 yet, he's not in his prime. They're gonna make a lot of excuses. Versus like, they still gonna say the same thing, to be honest. Like, so I'm playing both sides. Like, they're gonna do the same thing to be honest if he goes there and beats Madalena. Oh well, he was a striker. But at the end of the day, they can't change the fact that he did just beat Bilal, who is an amazing wrestler, amazing striker, was the legitimate champion, came off dominating Leon Edwards. So you can't take that away, and also you can't take the fact that he won a belt in another weight class. Like you can say, oh, the guy wasn't that good, or that guy went on to not be that good, but you can't take the fact that he beat a legitimate champion, and he's a two-weight champion. Whereas he beat Topuria. Topuria has everything to gain. Another thing, Topuria has everything to gain in the matchup. Topuria is the one going for the other belt. Topuria loses. Oh, he's too small. He was this and that. Topuria goes back to 145 and go on dominate. Then he can retire or whatever. But yeah, that's how they're gonna play. So, but you can't play and say, oh, he didn't win another belt. So if he does beat Madalena, that's another belt. and not like he's going there with some older guy, or one-dimensional this, one-dimensional that, or a guy with no grappling. He's going there with a guy that's younger than him, bigger than him, ever improving skills, much better striker than him. It's another dangerous matchup, another interesting matchup, and another tough matchup, to be honest. So we'll see how it plays out. I think they're both gonna be good matchups. I would love to see the Topuria versus Makhachev matchup in the future. Maybe, win or lose, he comes back down to 55, but we'll see. Another thing with both of them, to be honest, and you can blame Khabib for this, for a lot of these ways these fighters are fighting now, or handling their careers now, is the fact that Makhachev already stated that he does not intend to stick around a whole long time. He's not trying to be out there like Mighty Mouse and John Jones and GSP and Anderson Silva and then stack like try to chase the title defense record and get up to like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's not trying to do that. At most, he might go up like, I'm going to get like 6, 7. At most. And even that's a stretch. Realistically, probably 5, 6. And I think at lightweight, he got to 4 consecutive title defenses. So if he gets to build at welterweight, he might go for 2 defenses, then retire. So he's not intending to stick around long. And same way with Topuria. Topuria talking about he went retire like 30, 31. So Topuria is like 28, 29. So he's not intending to stick around too long. So the same exact. So let me to end this video off. The same exact thing that Makhachev is doing, Topuria is literally doing. Like he could have fought Evloev first. He could have fought Lopes first. And I definitely think he would have washed both of those guys. And I think that's even more clear than Makhachev beating Topuria. That's much more clear. I think Topuria beating those guys is much more clear. I think the Makhachev versus Topuria fight is a much more toss-up fight. But again, same logic. He didn't stick around. He didn't beat those guys before moving up. He like, I beat the best guys in the weight class. Now I'm going up without finishing off like the undefeated Evloev or the Lopes, who was at a hot contender at the time. So he didn't do all his homework before. He didn't do all his work before coming up. And Makhachev actually even in a better boat, because it's not like Topuria was at the weight class. Topuria still has no real legitimate lightweight wins. He has one knockout over a guy who's not even ranked, and he got dropped in the fight as well. But again, no shame to Topuria for that. But yeah, Makhachev has even a better case to move up than Topuria does, is what I'm saying, or at least to say he's not ducking someone, because that guy was not even in his weight class to begin with when he was thinking about moving up. He was talking about moving up before Topuria was even a champion. Topuria only been in the UFC for like 3 years, not very long. Pretty much the whole time he's been in the UFC, Makhachev has been the lightweight champion, or was the lightweight champion. But yeah, he's definitely not ducking Topuria in my opinion, and he has another tough matchup ahead of him. Maybe based off looking at some of the other fights that Jack had prior, it was trying to find a tailor-made opponent to get the belt off of, based on some of the previous fights he had. But based on what he showed against Bilal Muhammad, Jack Della Maddalena will be an extremely tough test. And I'm not even going to say like, oh, he's going to win this, he's going to win that. I'll predict that later on, but it's not out, roughly speaking, not delving into it yet. It's a tough fight to predict. Because you got to think, how would the speed work? How would this work? Uh, you know, what's going to benefit this guy? What's going to benefit that guy? Who's going to have this? Again, all of those different things. Is the technique that much better from lightweight to welterweight? You know, it's going to be a lot of different things and what adjustments they can make. But I pretty much already said it like 1,000 times. Topuria did not duck the featherweight division. He definitely did not duck Lopez or duck Evloev. And Makhachev did not duck Topuria. He cleared out his division. Like, was going to fight Dustin Poirier 5 more times, Gaethje 5 more times. Like, the same title challengers have been recycling since Khabib. Or Khabib beat Gaethje and Poirier. Charles beat Gaethje and Poirier. Islam beat Poirier. He's eventually gonna fight Gaethje too. Like, you know, it's keep repeating itself, and they both keep getting submitted. Like, you know, the same boring cycle. So he was good to get out of that division. Like, you know, Topuria would have been a fresh matchup, but again, why take a matchup like that's gonna be tough? But they're gonna be so quick to try to discredit you, even when you win, if you do win, or if you win, even if you win, they're gonna discredit you. You lose, they're definitely gonna discredit you. And then, as opposed to going up, and at the very least, if they discredit you, they can't discredit the fact that you were a 2-division champion. And that's a good way to end off your career and maybe get some defenses. Maybe take a super fight, maybe a fight, you know, in between with some great middleweight, maybe. Or meet in the middle and fight the poor for some like BMF belt or something. If they can't, you know, meet in the middle, or he can't come back to the lightweight. But yeah. Again, I'll say he's not ducking. But what are y'all thoughts? You think that Islam is actually ducking Topuria, or you just think he made the best career decision he felt for himself? And do you think that's a good career decision? So, and also, do you think that match still has potential to be made in the future, whether it be at 170 or 155? Let me know in the comment section below. But that has been a video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.